In this section, we will be going over the missteps that we most often see borrowers make. It is not uncommon for borrowers to deviate from the scope of work that they signed at closing. Work that is not listed on the scope of work is ineligible for reimbursement unless these funds are coming from our contingency division. If you find yourself deviating from the scope of work, it is important that you let us know so we can set you up to complete a change order to revise your scope so that it is accurate. We can be flexible at times if we are dispersing funds from contingency to cover work that wasn't originally planned. But if you end up not completing work that is called out on your scope of work, then we will be unable to disperse all holdback funds from the relevant division where the work is not complete. This is why it is vital for you to pursue a change order so that your scope remains accurate throughout the life of the loan. It's an unfortunate reality that rehab costs tend to balloon as new problems are discovered during the flip. It is important to understand that lending home is unable to increase the overall amount of the holdback, and that the drawing analyst you are working with is required to review each division of the scope as to the overall percentage that it is complete, not necessarily being able to approve as much as you may have already spent on that portion of the rehab. It is possible to move funds around within your budget using a change order, but as mentioned previously, the overall amount of the holdback cannot be increased or decreased, so any increase in budget would require a decrease in other divisions of the budget to offset these overages. Some divisions of the scope are harder to visually verify in the report than others. If there is a question as to whether or not something has been completed, your draw analyst will reach out for additional supporting evidence to show that this work is in fact complete. We will oftentimes reach out for third-party invoices or photos that better show the work that was completed. Photos that show progress of the work as it was occurring are also another option to help us substantiate that the work in question has been completed. Another common misstep that we see on a regular basis is borrowers that expect to be fully reimbursed for material purchases or for down payments before work has begun. In some instances, we are able to partially reimburse for materials that are seen on site at time of inspection, but this is an exception to the rule rather than the standard. Additionally, if the funds spent were just a down payment towards a contractor and not for materials, then we are unable to provide exceptions to disperse funds to help cover these costs. The draws process is meant as reimbursement for completed, installed, and paid for work, so any deviation from that where we are able to disperse funds should be seen as a one-off exception rather than our standard practice.